Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. We're a full service CX and UX agency, and this is our short Friday stream reacting to stuff. Short for me, 20-ish minutes. And we're going to, of course, as usual, load up the countdown timer and take a look at some things that you've sent me and use our usual 5 dogs rating scale. The more dogs, the better. So that is how we rate things here on the reaction show. So let me load up the things that you've sent me. I got a lot of things, but I'm just going to work with a few of them. Today we'll look at 4 just to keep the stream short, and we've got some for next week already. So if you want to send them in to deltacx.link/reaction. So hopefully you're looking at my screen right now. Maybe somebody in YouTube can confirm that you're seeing my screen, and that would be great. And then I give each thing 2 minutes and we take a look at what it says. So someone sent me this. Become a manager, they said. It will be great for your career, they said. Okay, but what if I'd rather design than sit in meetings all day? Is design simply a tactic, leaving senior designers to manage or push pixels? I think it's time for a new career path, one that doesn't force designers into management, but allows them to use their skills to tackle bigger and more complex problem spaces. It's time for the rest of the world to understand that design is a strategic asset, and non-managing designers can be a huge value add for any organization. I'm not sure what this person is saying that's really new. Design is a strategic asset. Designers who aren't managers are a huge value add. So, you know my standards. I'm looking for something here that's meaningful, actionable, and helpful. Otherwise, if I don't find that, I sometimes think it's a little clickbaity. So he doesn't want to be a manager. That's fine. And then he's sharing his own company's post. That career growth is not a staircase. I think it is, so because we have levels and we want to move up them. So if it's not a staircase, what is it? Designers don't spend their careers working in the same domain. That's true. But moving from junior to manager usually is what happens. You're looking to be promoted and keep moving up, and some people don't want to be managers, and that's fine, and some people do. So I'm confused. I'm not too sure what this person is saying. Steps to nowhere, and the escape is lifelong learning. You should be lifelong learning no matter what, whether you want to be a manager or not, whether you see the steps of your career as a staircase or not. Lifelong learning, yes. I can't tell what to do because of this post. It kind of doesn't speak to me. It might speak to others. I didn't click on it to read the newsletter. Anybody in the chat room, are you getting this? I'm kind of not getting this. I just realized I'm not wearing my earpiece to know when the gong is going off because my time is up. Did the gong go off? If it did, I missed it. Happy Friday, Charlene. Hi, Solomon and Sylvia. Good to see you. Solomon, we missed you at my conference. I was hoping to meet you. And Sylvia, I didn't get to run into you there. Charlene, I saw all the time, which is always fun. Am I still counting down time? No, I missed the gong. Okay, so I can't tell what's going on here. I'm not sure what to do because of reading this. Maybe their newsletter was going to tell me what to do. So let's just give them a couple of extra seconds and take a look at, okay, so it's steps to nowhere. Individual contributor path. Well, what do you mean starting to take shape? It's been that way for decades. Designing career growth. She's the Beyonce of design sprints. I'm so sorry to hear that. And the article's over. So I'm going to have to give this 1 dog out of 5. This is just appearing as clickbait for me. I'm not seeing here what I can do about anything this person is saying. I don't get it. If you want to be a manager, be a manager. If you don't want to be a manager, be a lead or principal. I don't get it. So I'm going to have to give that 1 dog out of 5 for being what I think is clickbait. Good luck, everybody. Next, I was sent this LinkedIn post It's about a week old, maybe a little bit more. And this is from Jonathan Tesser. And it says, who has actually been a guest on the show. And it says, getting an internship doesn't make you better than anyone else. Getting an internship doesn't mean you're winning the career arms race. Getting an internship shouldn't be an approval-seeking mechanism where somehow you're deemed worthy by society and family. No, the only thing that getting an internship means is hopefully you get to do work in your field of interest and you're paid to do it. Yes, we've been talking about that in Slack. That's it. So don't lord it over your peers that you're some special snowflake worthy of attention just because you got an internship. You're not. You're just a student working this summer. And for those of you who don't have internships yet, chin up. It's not a measurement of your self-worth, and you're doing just fine. I haven't seen anybody posting to LinkedIn that there's some sort of special snowflake because they've got an internship. I do find that most people who find a job or a new job or an internship or an apprenticeship usually post something announcing it. I think there's probably a difference between announcing that you got a job or position or internship and what he's describing, which doesn't sound very low ego action hero. So I think that announcing an internship is fine, but being high ego about it isn't fine. But then again, I haven't seen anyone doing that on LinkedIn. I haven't seen anybody doing, yeah, I got an internship, all you jerks didn't. So I'm not totally sure who Jonathan is speaking to here. Maybe that's happening in his feed, but I'm not seeing it in mine. Are you seeing it in yours, chat room? There's 6 of you live on YouTube watching. Are you seeing people... I see people humble brag about internships, but I haven't seen people, kind of be crappy to each other about it. 9 seconds left. Thomas is here. Good to see you. Says, sounds like someone's struggling to get an internship and has an internship. Oh, that's good. On their shoulder. Yeah, time's up. Yeah. So I guess I would give this a decent number of dogs. I'll give it 4 dogs out of 5 because while I think I would agree with him that you don't want to hold this over people and be a high ego person or have, as Thomas said, an internship on your shoulder. I'm also not seeing this happening in my feed. Maybe he is in his. So I'm, to me, because I'm not seeing it, it seems like he's responding to something I haven't seen. So if he's seeing it, then it's important for him to call it out. So that's where he loses a dog there, because I'm not too sure who he's talking to. I was sent this article from Fast Company that says being nice can actually hurt your career. Do these things instead. Learn the difference between being nice and being kind. That seems like a very narrow, subtle distinction. So before we start the timer, Solomon says, nope, no one brags about anything outside of Fang. And even those are showing up less often. Yeah, I see humble brags on internships, but I never felt like someone was acting like they lorded over people or felt like they were a special snowflake. So again, I don't know who it's directed to. So let's start the countdown timer and take a look at this Fast Company article. Stop trying to get everyone to like you. That doesn't sound like niceness or kindness. That sounds like codependency. That sounds like a drive to feel popular. It could even be a lack of self-esteem when you're trying to get others to like you. So I'm not sure. It says it's important to point out the difference between kindness and niceness. Kindness grows from self-esteem and earns respect in return. Niceness comes from a desire for approval, which can result in mistreatment or being advantaged of. I don't think I agree with that definition. If someone said to me, oh, Debbie is so nice, or Debbie, you're really nice, I wouldn't be like, how dare you? How dare you think I have a desire for approval resulting in mistreatment? David says, nope, not seeing that either. When people start making up new definitions of words, I just have to open up this definition of nice. Giving pleasure or satisfaction, pleasant or attractive, slight or subtle, a nice distinction. Okay, definition of nice. Psychology. Is there some psychology definition I'm missing here? The science of being nice. How politeness is different. Okay, politeness is different they're saying nice versus kind. So maybe this is just some sort of rewrite of some articles that came before it, because here's nice versus kind from 2014, and this is nice from about a week ago. So, hi, Olivia the dog is here. Hi, Olivia the dog. Speak up if you disagree or think differently. Again, a good point, but doesn't seem to me to be about being nice or being kind. So are people getting this one? I feel like I'm missing something here. And again, if you're trying too hard to be liked, well, that was covered in your first point. So I think now you're just repeating yourself. Stop taking everything personally. As I like to say, I don't take things personally, even the things that are intended to be personal. So again, if you're taking everything personally, I don't necessarily think that's out of niceness or kindness. These all sound like self-esteem, codependency, imposter syndrome, anxiety, burnout. I don't think this is about niceness or kindness. So I'm going to give this 2 dogs, because I think there's a couple of nice sentences here that I think make sense. But I think in general it's couched in this weird nice versus kind thing that I think doesn't really fit the article. I think they would have done better if they had just made these points without trying to tie them back to niceness and kindness and trying to build a distinction between the two, because I think that's just very subtle. Though we could see what the 2014 article says. The difference between nice versus kind is night and day. Nice, pleasant or pleasing, agreeable in nature. Okay, we just saw that. Kind, having or showing a tender and considerate, helpful nature used of people in their behavior. Okay, I guess there's a difference there. But, you know, it's a little bit on the subtle side. And again, from the meaningful, actionable, helpful bucket, if I can or can't make a distinction between these, what do I do about that? Does it matter? Does it help me? All right, moving on to our last one to keep these streams short. And this will probably go a little bit long, so when the gong goes off, I'll probably continue talking about this. I was sent to the Case Study Factory, which is the UXDesign.cc people, complaining that there is a formulaic approach to UX case studies. And I thought this was amazing, because I think of them as the people on Medium that will publish pretty much anything. I didn't think they had standards for anything. And so I was really surprised to see them trying to now claim some sort of standards. And so it sounds like they're talking about that, of course, they get a lot of emails every week trying to have case studies to be put in their site. And then they have some numbers here. Hundreds of professionals are joining the workforce, several case studies in their portfolio. Boot camps have been adding new designers to the workforce, filling a gap in the higher education system of certain countries. Well, I would say not. Their offerings enable aspiring designers to learn about the essential tools needed to become a practitioner in a matter of months. I would say not. Because these boot camps are short programs, they focus on the practical skills and methods that a designer needs to find in their first job. I would say not. Such courses tend to skip what might be considered foundational disciplines, such as digital design, anthropology, philosophy, history, and graphic design. I'm not sure you need graphic design, but yes, I would agree that these courses are missing a lot of things. So these shorter programs have one key output in mind, a UX UI case study. Okay, I can agree with that. Many of these boot camps and online courses are just trying to put UX UI case studies in your portfolio. This means that the time to job is the most important KPI in these programs. That's true. The main thing these programs care about is how long it takes you to get your first job, and really not the quality of your work. I'd agree. This myopic focus requires schools to standardize their design curricula. I guess so. I'm going to continue anyway. To find jobs more quickly, students tend to showcase the types of work most demand in our industry, mostly website and app redesigns. That's true too. I see a lot of that in the portfolios that I review. So yes, okay. Are they going to tell me what to do instead? Students publish this on Medium to increase their chances of being discovered by senior designers and hiring managers. We've talked about that many times here. Why are you trying to write stuff on Medium or anywhere when you're just still learning this stuff? The UX Bootcamp benefits from students' projects publishing on Medium. Case studies become content marketing that attracts new students and therefore revenue. Okay, so there's many things here that I agree with, but like, what's their point? Is their point stop doing this? Publishing case studies on Medium was a requirement from our school. We're encouraged to share our work and tag it in a certain way to increase our visibility and chances of getting hired. Hi, Destiny. School 2 introduced me to Medium and asked me to write a case study of some of the projects I'm doing in the boot camp. Hi, Parth. Elijah says, this has been one of the biggest things I've seen circulated. I'd love your thoughts on it. Yeah, well, so far my thoughts are I mostly agree with them about how boot camps aren't teaching the right things, and because boot camps mostly care about when did you get a job and can we just teach you the bare minimum to make a bare minimum case study or portfolio piece to get you the job. Like, I'm agreeing with that, but then the question is like, what's their point? What are we doing about that? Even designers who've not studied in the same school use similar structures. Is this formulaic approach endangering young professionals' capacity for critical thinking? I think critical thinking is in trouble, but I wouldn't have said it was because people's portfolios are formulaic. So critical thinking definitely in trouble, not because of formulaic portfolios. The formulaic portfolio is the symptom. It's not the cause. So remember, put on your Don Norman hat here when we talk about finding causes, root causes, and the real problem, not just the symptoms. So I think they're focusing too much on the symptoms, which is seeing these formulaic case studies, and they're not focusing on the root cause. Hi, Eshita. So what's their... Okay, so they think there's less critical thinking, students obsessed with process. I wish I were seeing more people obsessed with process. Most of y'all have told me you don't even know what UX process is. When you teach someone to always follow the same steps, you're forming a habit that's hard to break. Oh, that's different than being obsessed with process. That's not students obsessed with process. I think thinking about UX processes and wanting to follow some or all of them is good, but it's more about, I mean, that's just saying no critical thinking again. That's just no critical thinking if you're just following the steps because the school said these are the steps. And I do find that a lot too. People think every project they start in UX is going to start with talking to 2 people and making 3 personas. The illusion of a structured industry? I don't know about that. What do you mean? Inability to improvise? Right? Again, that's another flavor of critical thinking. They're following their standard written things, so they're not using critical thinking. So basically, I think these are all just, we're lacking critical thinking, and I'd agree with that. Everything looks the same. Sure, hiring managers say it all looks the same. It does, but I'm also looking for the stories that the portfolios tell. If the portfolio tells a good story, I will spend a little more time on it and maybe interview you. Just because your format is similar to others doesn't mean I reject you out of hand. Solomon says, does the word interface have a meaning outside of computers? Yes, it does. There are other meanings of the word interface. Eshita says, I believe UX process cannot be generalized. Well, there's different processes. X-ray of a typical case study. So again, lack of context. Many case studies start with an unexplained user need that one infers is the student's personal need. User research is then utilized to prove that other people experience the same problem. So I agree, that's not totally lack of context. Usually they do give the context of the project. That's really more tail wagging dog. It's really more, I think this is a good idea, so let me go run the research that shows this is a good idea. That's the tail wagging the dog. Hey, Macrand. Oh, different Macrand. Hi, Macrand. I think different Macrand. Anything which allows system and user to interact is an interface. Charlene says, research hypotheses where we spoke to 2 people who are not even part of our persona. Yes, like today's thing in Slack. Too much focus on process because students want to tick boxes on a standard template provided by their school. Again, I don't see this as too much focus on their process. So far on this page, I agree with the little type and I don't agree with the big type. I feel like they did not, whoever wrote this, I feel like didn't match these things up well. So, oh, hi, Macron. I forgot your last name. Good to see you. I would say they're making good points, but their headlines are throwing me off because the problem isn't lack of context or too much focus on process. It's the tail wagging the dog of the project and the ticking the boxes on a standard template or just using a framework or something like that and thinking UX is always done this way. We meet this many people. We make a customer journey map. We make an empathy map. We make a thing. Is an elevator and interface. Technically, Darren and I covered this on one of our office hours. Underwhelming solutions. Many case studies describe project process in great detail, only to conclude with a solution which is predictable, unpolished, and lacking insight. So again, I think that I've actually looked at a few portfolios, or maybe more than a few, and I've told people that the solution and design they came up with looks like the before version that I usually get. Like what you designed is usually what I'm being brought in to fix. And so in that case, it's probably not a strong design. Why did your instructors and teachers and whatever let you submit and get away with a poor design that I would be brought in to fix? Trying to be everything for everyone. Many case studies seem to lack a user-centered approach in terms of how they're written and distributed. Students have one version trying to speak to different audiences. So that's where I normally suggest the accordions, where you can add optional additional information. Putting ourselves in the hiring manager's shoes. Yep, I say the same thing. I say consider what the hiring manager needs to see to decide that you are interesting enough to interview. And did you do that? 40 portfolios per position. Oh, probably more. Here's somebody who says, I do a quick scan. If the work looks interesting, I'll do a more thorough analysis. This could be 30 seconds or 20 minutes. They spent 10 weeks reviewing 50 portfolios. They read 1 or 2. I jump to the final designs. I want to see the outcome of the case study. Only then, if the final designs are solid, do I go back and try to understand the designer's process. You see a lot of people building deep use cases, but the execution fails, and right now I need designers who can think and deliver. So I think that that's a really interesting point and not a tactic that I've taken with portfolios, but I think it's interesting and worth talking about because this person is saying, show me the end of the story. Show me how this ended up. What did you design? And I guess if that person sees poor designs, poor executions, it's mobile, but it's not really the right mobile paradigms, maybe bad accessibility, then they don't care what your process was. You ended with something crappy. And I think that's an interesting way to go. I haven't done that, but I think it's an interesting way to go. And I think for those of you writing your portfolios and case studies, it's interesting to remember that there might be some people who say, let's just see how this ended. And if I don't like your final work, I kind of don't care how you got there. I think that's fair. I think that is fair. So how can someone make their work stand out? They recommend some of these people. Define your area of focus. Focus on your skills. Align the story with the medium. Set up the context of the project. Focus on insights rather than process. Yeah, I kind of disagree, but I think we're defining process differently. I mean, to me, the process is, did you do user-centered design? How many people did you interview? What was your research plan? What were your research goals? Did you utilize what you learned in research to do your design? I very rarely see that in the portfolio. Sometimes I asked people and they thought it was a good idea, so here's my designs for the idea. Well, that's not really utilizing that stuff. Excuse me. Spring Design your case study reading experience, scannable headings, short sentences, short paragraphs. Yeah, I mean, this is generally good advice. Care about your visuals. I don't know if I would obsess over them, but care about your visuals. I think it's important to have a balance between story and visuals. Make it personal. I guess that's it. I'd probably give this 4 dogs out of 5. I think that there's a lot of things here that I would agree with. I think there's some good advice here. It doesn't get to the root of the problem. They're losing a dog here for 2 things. They're losing a dog for some of their headlines that don't match their paragraphs, in my opinion. And they're losing a dog for not really talking about the root cause and for unfortunately dancing around the root cause here and just focusing on the symptoms. They can say, here's how to make a better portfolio. But if people aren't getting better education, if they're not doing better work or better process, then you're just making a prettier case study of bad work or bad process. And as a hiring manager, I'm still going to see that. If you follow their suggestions for improving your case study, but your work is not better, then I might still see not great work and not want to hire you. So just remember that the portfolios and the case studies are a combination of the process you used and the work you did and the skills and the proficiency and the quality and the story you tell about it. And if you tell an amazing, great, fun, interesting story, you've got good headlines, you've got the right amount of text, you have pretty pictures, you have whatever, but your process sucked, I still don't want to meet you. So I think that they downplayed that a little bit too much. I think they didn't make it clear that this is kind of how some of these things are ending up. So I didn't want to make this go longer than 20 minutes, but here we are at 30. I just cannot do short content or sentences. Sorry about that. But here I am, with crazy hair today and a fan blowing on me. But if you have any last questions or comments, let me know. Otherwise, that'll be it for this week. Let's take a quick look at what's coming up. For, let's see, Monday, there won't be a stream. It is a bank holiday in a few different countries, so I figured I wouldn't bug y'all. Oh, no, my light is on. Tuesday the 1st is a super fun office hours Ask Me Anything. I hope you'll mark your calendars for it. It's going to be Ask Me Anything and Ask My Boyfriend Anything. He will be back on the show for not the first time. He's been here a couple of times, but he will be sitting with me here talking into the big mic and answering questions. So prepare to ask my boyfriend some fun questions. We're going to be celebrating that we've passed 2,000 subscribers thanks to all of you. Wednesday, we're going to have Larry Marine back. Wednesday the 2nd, mark calendars as well. He's going to teach us that there is a type of persona that we can make that's kind of for our internal use, and it happens between task analysis and optimized task flow. Whoa, there's a step between the two and we didn't know. I just found out about it. He's just giving us information in little drips. Friday the 4th, reaction stream. Monday the 7th is going to be our live podcast talking about the Google UX Coursera program. We'll have 2 guests, I think 3 guests, who each took some of the course. I'm not sure anybody took all of the course, but they each took some of the course, and we're going to talk to them about what they liked and didn't like about it, and if they would recommend it or not recommend it. Tuesday the 8th, of course, is the second Tuesday of June, which means it's office hours. Ask Us Anything with the 3 Musketeers. So that is going to be super fun. And then Wednesday the 9th is our monthly Slack networking. If you are not part of our Slack group, it is free to join. deltacx.link/join Slack. It's pretty active now. I remember when it wasn't. And it's pretty active. And every month we meet in AirMeet, which we used for the conference, and we just hang out and chat in a little video audio universe. So that takes us up to June 9th. I haven't been booking too many podcasts. I have a lot of speaking in June, so there might not be as many shows. But if you have a topic you'd like me to cover or guests you'd like me to invite, please let me know. I'd be happy to reach out to people and see if they'd like to be on the show. I'm always happy to reach out. Some of our more interesting guests were people y'all told me to track down and include. Elijah, if you're still here, what did you think about what I said about that article? Any questions on it? Anything I didn't cover? I'll wait a few seconds for Elijah to respond because that would be the right thing to do. Okay, he says, great. Just checking. I didn't want to leave you hanging since you said you really wanted my opinion on that thing. I didn't want you to be like, oh, Deb kind of didn't cover what I was hoping she would cover. Macron says, can you put the link of that article here? Not easily. It's essays.uxdesign.cc. I'll try to paste it, but sometimes YouTube strips URLs so that spammers don't spam. essays.uxdesign.cc/case-study-factory. I would imagine you can Google it if you put in uxdesign.cc and case study factory. Other than that, I hope everybody will be nice and be kind, and nicely kind and kindly nice. And don't forget to wear 17 masks this weekend and stay safe. And for now, I will say goodbye, but I'll see everybody in Slack. I'm working all through the weekend. I've got work to catch up on after the Concentric Conference. So if you need some help, I'll be in Slack here and there. Thanks, everybody. Be well, and see you Tuesday.
Delta CX, available for CX and UX consulting, projects, and training. Contact us for a free consultation